enforcement.
How many genders are there, Harry?
How many genders are there?
What's the I'm gonna use Joe Biden's answers. At least 2.
This boy just said, I'm going to use the Joe Biden answer, and actually said it like he was saying something smart. What's up, guys? Welcome back to SOS. I'm your host, Brother Maverick, and today, guys, we have a couple of different things going on, because even in 2025, even after Kamala Harris got mopped in that election, Harry Sisson is still sitting here trying to hold on to these little progressive values that cost the Democrats their election to begin with. And there's a couple other people I'm going to have chiming in here, mainly Voddie Bauchum, because he's one of the pastors that speaks out against this nonsense the most, and he does it with a biblical value that is not matched by anyone else. So we're going to check this out. We're going to look at Harry Sisson get kicked around on Piers Morgan. We're going to look at why progressive values simply don't work, why it's costing people elections. And of course, you will catch my thoughts a little in the middle. And of course, on the other side, let's man up.
Do you think there should be more than 2 genders in America?
Yeah, I don't know what that executive order means. I don't know what the president declared.
It means there are 2 genders, male and female. Do you disagree with that?
How many genders are there, Harry?
Yeah,
come on, little guy. How many genders are there?
Again, these guys don't know what they're talking about, so they won't be able to answer.
How many genders are there?
How many genders are there, Harry?
How many genders are there?
What's the I'm gonna use Joe Biden's answers. At least 2. At least 2. That satisfies.
Well, how many more other than male, female?
That's a TikTok answer.
There's at least 2.
Yeah.
There's at least 2.
Well, no, hang on. There's male and female.
Kid is like human brain
Donald
rot.
Trump says there's male and female. There are 2.
Okay, Dave.
How many
Russian
more
Reuben,
are there
now.
after male and female, Harry?
There's at least 2. Now, anyway, let me get back
What
to
would you
what I
at
was
least
saying.
How
2?
many more are there?
What are the other ones?
There's at least 2.
What are the other ones?
Harry, let's try it this way. You're a female. What is the other gender?
It's so funny. It's so funny how these conservatives just get time to lie on this show, but when I'm speaking, they all interrupt and there's no problem.
Question.
You've just been asked a very simple question,
I'm trying to have a
Harry.
conversation with Piers, not you, Mr. Como-over. Relax for me.
Harry,
Take a
you
breather.
simply
Thank
got
you so
asked
much.
if there are at least 2 genders, how many more are there than male and female?
Piers, you asked me about Donald Trump's executive order. I'm trying to explain how legally it makes absolutely no sense and it's going to get sued in court. Then we go into culture wars with Dave Rubin and this Ferguson guy asking how many genders are there. I'm trying to answer your question. They're screaming their faces off about issues that don't matter.
I'm
Harry,
asking you.
Oh God, this child.
And Piers,
I'm asking you, Harry. How many genders
and I'm
are
answering
there?
your question.
Harry,
Piers, I've answered your question.
Harry, how many genders are there?
2. There are at least 2.
2 or at least 2?
Are there 100?
Hang on,
Are there
Ben.
100?
Hang on, Ben. I've got
More
this.
or less than 100?
Can I answer the question?
Yes,
for
Cornell.
Brother Harry?
Answer the question.
Can I answer the question
Yes.
for Brother Harry? Because
7?
Brother Harry trying to
Yes,
hold
help
on.
him out, Cornell.
That according to Shakespeare, all of us are androgynous. There are men and there are women. There are different sides of human beings, all made in the image of a God that has a dignity and a sanctity.
Now, I want to root this video into biblical truth right from Jump Street. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27 says, "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them." Now, that's not just theology. That's reality, folks. And yet somehow, here we are in 2025, where asking a grown adult how many genders exist feels like a high-stakes interrogation. Harry Sisson got put on the spot with the easiest question in the world, and suddenly, he was doing mental gymnastics like a Cirque du Soleil performer. There's at least 2? At least? That's like saying there's at least 2 states in America. You know that there's more to that statement, so why not just say it? You see, the truth is, when you've built your entire worldview on shifting sand, even basic facts become terrifying to you. The moment Harry Sisson admits that there's only 2 genders, the entire house of cards collapses. That's why they dodge, deflect, and talk in circles. But no matter how much you try to twist reality, the truth doesn't care about your feelings. Biology isn't up for debate. It never was. That's the reason why it's made clear in the very beginning of the Bible.
We are living in crazy times. Biological men are competing and winning against biological women in sports. The newest Supreme Court justice declined to answer the simple question, what is a woman? Record numbers of young Americans now identify as transgender. Sexually explicit materials permeate schools. Pedophiles have rebranded as minor attracted persons. And now, sexual identity and gender ideology advocates have hijacked the civil rights movement, co-opting its success for their own insidious purposes. They have sold the lie that sexual identities are equivalent to race, and that the fight for the rights of sexual minorities is the final frontier in the struggle for civil rights. To make matters even worse, many evangelical leaders eager to appease the culture have gone along to get along, even excusing and redefining sinful behavior as a mere sexual identity. For decades, Christians have been bullied into silence by the false civil rights argument. We've been told that believing marriage is a union between a man and a woman, that there are only two genders, and that they, them, are plural pronouns, makes us bigots, Nazis, and hate-filled monsters. But what if they're wrong?
What if it's not like being black?
You see, guys, this whole gender ideology thing wasn't about pronouns and rainbow flags. At least that wasn't all it was about. It was about something much darker and sinister than that. As Voddie Bauchum pointed out, there's a reason they tried to hijack the civil rights language. It wasn't about equality. It was about power. It was about trying to reprogram society from the ground up, the same way that they did in Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, let's really think about it. They started with, what was it that they used to love to say? Just let people love who they want to love. Then it became, you better bake that cake for us, or else we're going to prosecute you. Then it was, a man can be a woman if he says that he's a woman. After that, they told you that if you don't affirm a child's confusion, you were committing abuse. Absolutely ridiculous. They tried to replace God's design with human arrogance. They tried to redefine marriage, redefine gender, and eventually redefine morality itself. And Christians should have been ashamed of themselves because too many were scared to speak up because they didn't want to be called mean. They didn't want to get canceled. But standing for truth isn't mean. It's necessary, because if we don't, we're handing the next generation over to the absolute chaos known as progressive ideology.
We went from having an argument about, what were acceptable sexual practices to then going to an argument about who are acceptable marriage partners, and now to an argument about what is a male and what is a female.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
So I'm not a biologist.
What is a man and what is a woman?
There is not one particular thing.
It could be many things to many people.
We're in trouble.
And you know what? Let's talk about that trouble for a second, because it reached a level of absurdity that no one could have ever imagined, guys. Men competing in women's sports, which to me was beyond foolish, it was flat out evil. The progressives had dudes built like linebackers shattering records in women's categories. And instead of stopping the insanity, the media was telling women to just suck it up and compete harder. Are you kidding me? Those same feminists who spent decades preaching about female empowerment were suddenly silent while men took over women's sports. Now, make that make sense for me. But it's funny how every scam starts the same way, guys. I mean, really think about it. Just be kind. Just accept it. And then before you know it, Leah Thomas was standing on the podium while the actual female athletes watched their hard work get erased. Decades of work and training gone just like that, because progressives decided that they thought they could take over society. It wasn't progress, it was regression. It was a direct attack on God's created order. And if you dared to call it out, they called you hateful. But love tells the truth, guys. And the truth is, God doesn't make mistakes, but society sure does when it rebels against him. We were in deep trouble over here, guys, okay? The good news is trouble is where truth shines the brightest. And the best news of all is that this last election showed clearly that the morally bankrupt were not the overwhelming majority as they tried to insinuate on a daily basis on social media. Donald Trump, he's far from perfect, let's be honest. But just like every other man and woman out there, he's a sinner. At least though, he had the humility to declare Jesus Christ as the boss and not himself. And he's a far cry from the devil that was actually sitting in the White House flying that pride flag every single day while police officers and military service members were ignored for the sacrifice that they were making on the very same daily basis. At the end of the day, guys, this isn't about politics. It's about the person who is going to most closely reflect your values and lead you while saying and pointing to the sky that Jesus Christ is actually the one in charge. Progressives actually did think that they had support from the overwhelming majority. But as I alluded to earlier, this last election showed a very different picture, and I couldn't be happier to see it. Hey guys, I pray to God that you liked the video, and if you did, please type amen in the comment section if you agree, and if you don't, go ahead and leave those comments also. Just keep it respectful. As always, please don't forget to like the video, hit the sub button, share the video, and smash that bell for event notifications, guys, so you never miss a new video. If you love what you see and you want to become a channel sponsor, you can hit that join button where the sponsorship trailer will explain the different tier options and the perks that you'll get as a result of joining each individual plan. Also, don't forget to check out our merch store, as I've recently added a ton of new merchandise to the store, and I would love to see nothing more than to see some of you guys wearing the Cross Unit logo out there in the wild. Lastly, the link to my Buy Me a Coffee is there as well. Of course, you're not required to do any of that. Just having you here with me is more than enough, and I am extremely grateful to God for your fellowship. As always, guys, be safe, be good, and be blessed. Remember that Jesus is King and the literal only way to heaven. So for those of you who haven't started a relationship with him yet, please consider it, because when he comes back for his people, it's gonna happen just like this.
down.